So we were talking to you guys yesterday about Jason's sensibility, how like when out in the woods, he can see your hologram. He can see exactly where you're at. Unless you're inside of a cabin, you're not really hidden from Jason, right? If he picks up your fear sense. I think, in my opinion, especially if they're going to make the maps smaller, that's going to be super detrimental to the counselor. So my original idea for the sensibility, or for if it was ever changed up, would be to make it like, if anybody in the chat room played The Witcher 3, you know, when he uses his little thingy and he can pick up pheromone scents, you know, it's like a little red smoke cloud or whatever. I was thinking that would be a really cool idea to change that up for when people are out and about in the woods, to then enable the counselor to be able to hide from Jason properly. You know, because right now, you know, if Jason cinches you, thanks for the cheers, Bros Jedi. If Jason cinches you in the woods and he's going to see your hologram, he just sees you. Like, there's not much to it, right? There's not much of a thing. He just sees you and he can nail you and go right after you and chase you and you're dead. But if there was somehow a thing where when Jason activates his sense, instead of just outright seeing the counselor, what if it was a mist of smoke, and wherever the counselor actually is where it would be denser, not pinpoint dense to the point where you could see the thick cloud of smoke and you know exactly where they're at, but a general idea that, hey, this area is red, and the more towards the center where the counselor actually is, the more thicker the red smoke is. So he's in a sense, no pun intended, tracking their actual sense of fear, like they're leaving behind a scent trail as opposed to a hologram outline of their actual body. This would actually enable the counselors to now hide in a bush, hide behind a tree, hide on the outside of the cabins. I mean, the hologram for cabins when they're inside a cabin would probably be the same. I don't know if they could change that, but like when they're outside, this would give, because right now, the only thing you can do to hide as a counselor is to be inside of a cabin. If you're outside of a cabin, there's not much of a mechanic going on in the woods, right? There's nothing you can do in the woods to counteract Jason. Nothing. You have to go inside of a cabin or you're toast for the most part. You cannot evade Jason outside. Like, I think if they added in this pheromonal smoke ability, I'm going to throw up a picture on the screen so you guys can get an idea of this is a rough concept, by the way. I basically just photoshopped this in. So that's basically, okay. So if Jason, say if he's like right there looking down this path, and yeah, okay, so maybe there's a counselor hiding right there off to the left in the trees. But Jason can't exactly pick them up, right? He knows they're over there in the trees, but he doesn't know exactly where. So he's going to go search over there. This gives the counselor like an opportunity to get in a bush, to get behind a tree, to get in a thicket, and maybe crawl, you know, get down and somehow evade Jason. You know, that they could hide behind a tree. Jason might walk by, you know. But right now, it's like, Jason, if he sees you outside in the woods, he's going to go after you and probably shift grab your ass. This would create moments that I have encountered in Dead by Daylight that I haven't necessarily encountered in Friday the 13th. For example, here, let me see if I can move my character around and make an example here in the virtual cabin. Let's see. Let's pretend that you guys have seen the bus. Let's use that as a good example. The bus in Dead by Daylight. Okay, pretend I'm in the bus, right? This is the inside of the bus right here. This is the back of the bus right here, and you can jump out of the back of the bus's window, whatever, you know. This is the front of the bus on this side of the table. You go in, you're inside the bus, whatever. The killer's chasing after you, right? So in Dead by Daylight, there is no sensibility. So you get these interactions a lot with the killer. Killer's chasing you, killer's chasing you, killer's chasing you. The killer's on your ass. Maybe you're kind of ahead of the killer, far enough to where when you turn the corner, they don't see you anymore, right? So you get on the bus really quick. They lost sight of you. You hurry up, get behind a thing in the bus, duck down. Can't duck down in here, but you get the idea. You duck down. You're still inside the bus, but you're behind the corner, right? So the killer comes in behind you, You're ducked down inside of the bus around the corner, the edge, maybe right at the entrance, and the killer comes in. He keeps on going straight through the bus, exits the bus. He's gone. Like, that is scary. Like, those are the moments that you don't necessarily get too much in Friday the 13th because Jason is very pinpoint. There's not really many moments where he's going to be running away, not running away, where he walks by you and then he lost you. That doesn't happen too much when you're outside a cabin. It can happen inside of a cabin because he'll lose you. He can't really track you in a cabin. But you guys get the idea. If it was a pheromonal smoke, like an actual scent trail for Jason, yes, he would be able to follow you, but he's not going to know exactly where you are. So you have that opportunity to now hide in different places outside and in the cabins, which could then create more gameplay mechanic scenarios outside as well as, you know, in a cabin. You know, but when Jason prior to Rage, you know, like you're out here, we can use out here as a good example. There's no way, like I've had, when you play AJ, you can get these scenarios a lot, but like you can use AJ and it's only because Jason can't sense you. Like he senses and your sense go, and he attempts to sense AJ and doesn't pick her up at all. You might get those scenarios where you're in a bush and he just walks right by you, but it's very rare. I think it would be more frightening instead of Jason just outright seeing your hologram out in the forest, which is stressful but not necessarily frightening. It would make for a better experience. So example, like right now, Jason hunts you like a Terminator in the forest, right? When he senses you, he's going after you. You have to get away. It's pretty much a plain, straight out scenario. But if he sees your smoke, there's an opportunity there for the counselor to become more frightened. Bros Jedi taking out the bit boss. It leaves opportunity open for the counselor to become way more frightened because now the mindset through the other player's head playing the counselor versus Jason is, did he see me? Did he see me? Did he not? I don't know. Maybe he did. You know, you're going to have those instances where he's looking for you. He might look right at you, but he doesn't see you. Like, he knows you're in the area because there's smoke all over the fucking place, but he doesn't necessarily see you. Maybe he might look right at you and then just turn and keep walking in another direction, but it still makes you have to keep moving. Like, you just can't sit there the whole time because eventually he's going to search the whole smoked out area of the sense, wherever the sense is being picked up, and he's going to find you. But it leaves that opportunity open for the counselor to, if you're hiding, like say over here behind this outhouse, and he senses you and he goes looking over there like ahead a little bit, and he's not picking you up right away, it gives you that moment to get down, crouch, maybe move. You know, you're trying to get the fuck away. You're trying to move. You're getting over here behind the tent. Now he's following your trail behind the fucking bathroom. So you know he's picked up your scent. So you gotta fucking keep going. You're like, Jason's fucking following my scent trail. How the hell do I evade him? You know, that would be way more exciting, I think. Instead of him just outright seeing you, he's following your fear trail. You gotta find a way to evade that. Like, that would be very exciting, I think. What if Friday the 13th was a little bit darker? Not, you know, right now the moon is full. There's a big ass moon flashlight shining down on the entire map. It's very bright. Jason doesn't have much of a thing where he can hide behind trees and hide in bushes and surprise counselors. It's really easy to see Jason Voorhees. So, but what if it was this dark? What if it was as dark as this right here? You know, and this is streamed from the Evil Within. What if you are out in the woods and it was not this dark? This is almost a little bit too dark. But what if it was dark in the sense that Jason, for example, could hide back in the bushes, hide back behind a tree, and say the counselor comes out of a cabin thinking that Jason's using his stealth mechanic, and counselor comes out of the cabin, doesn't know he's there, looks around, turns on their flashlight, and they have to turn on their flashlight because it's dark. The flashlight would become more of a thing, right? So the counselor looks around, you know, flashlight on, like in the movie, you know, like they're shining their flashlight through the trees, and bam, they hit Jason. Jason already has a friggin' throwing knife up and throws it in your face. Like, how badass would that be? But you can't do that right now because the maps are so lit up. It doesn't give Jason that kind of opportunity to play stealth and hide and wait for you to come walk out, and to the point where you're almost looking directly at him, but he's hidden in such a way in the darkness that you'd almost have to start shine your flashlight on him in order, you know, and then he could just kind of make his move, whether he wants to just walk out from the bushes and come after you, or take a throwing knife and throw it in your face once you shine the flashlight on him. Like, how badass would that be? And there's the lightning right there. How awesome would it be with that kind of darkness and that kind of lightning and maybe supposedly rain? Friggin' awesome, right? Jason hides in the trees. Like, it would be amazing. You could actually stand in the trees and scare the shit out of somebody. Like, these trees out here and these bushes, and the counselor shading would have to match the environmental shading. But yeah, like, if he could totally stand, like, it's all dark back here. If that kind of lighting was in the game, like, it's really fucking dark back here. This is like perfect. Cuban Missile Crisis says, but the thing is, some players finish objectives quick. I feel like there is no time to play the scary Jason. Well, that's the thing. Those things would have to be adjusted as well. It does. Players do get done with objectives pretty damn quickly, which is, I think, one reason why they're making the maps variants smaller. They want to see how people play in a smaller map. I personally would love to see, like, bigger maps, vehicle-based maps. Maybe a map where you have to do an objective on one side of the map, you know, and you're not done then. Maybe there's one or two objectives you have to get done on one side of the map, and then the counselors are going to have to make their way down a really long road to get to some other portion of the map. Maybe it's close to town, a small town with closed down stores or something like that. And then they got to finish objectives on that side of town in order to get through that, you know, in order to complete the match in the game, whatever. But that would be cool. Smaller maps, I don't know. That kind of scares me, but I'll play it and see how it works. They might have ideas they're not telling us about 100% that might go along with the smaller maps. Who knows? We will have to see. We will have to wait. Single player, you know, as well. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff they're saving as a surprise. But yeah, you guys, the whole sensibility thing, I think that would be cool. Because, like, right now, you know, there's a lot of... The thing is counselors, in order for counselors to get away, they almost have to get in a cabin. If you're outside in the woods... you have no chance. And there's no way to evade Jason out in the woods. I would like for there to be a way where you can actually evade Jason in the woods. It would be extremely hard, but definitely possible. I had a moment when I played the beta. I will never forget this moment. This says something. This is a memorable moment I will never forget. And it was so quick. It was so easy. But okay, I was playing Jason, Sackhead, and some guy was running away from me. He actually evaded me. He got away. He was playing AJ. He got away. I was sensing him. That's how I found him in the first place. He ran away from me. This was in Higgins. And he went down a cliff, right? So he's down on the bottom of a cliff near the lake, near the water. And he was on the underside of the cliff. I was on the top side of the cliff. You see this in movies all the time where the person's hiding like underneath something or alongside something on a lower level. So he was on the, let me see if I can find, okay, here we go. Like right here. I was up there on that big rock, right? And he was like down here crouched and I'm up there. I didn't see him, but I'm next to him, right? I'm standing literally over the guy, and he's down here crouched. I did not know where he was at. It was amazing. I didn't sense him or anything. And the only reason I found him and was able to kill him is because he spoke on his microphone. He got scared. And he said something, and I was like, dude, and he started running off. I was like, dude, if you would have sat there and not said anything, I would have walked away. I was ready to leave. I was ready to keep going down the trail and looking for him. But I was standing up there for a second, and then I kept going. He started talking. I was like, whoa. I was like, dude, that was amazing. If you would have not said anything, that would have been it. You could have had it. That would have bought you a few more seconds at least. But yeah, those kinds of moments. And I think if they made it to where it was like that sniffed out pheromonal kind of smoke, Jason wouldn't be able to pick up on where they're at right now. Because say if that person was hiding down here, there would be smoke, but it would be like all over the place, right? It would be not only around me, but it would have to be expanded in a sense to where it's like maybe some of it's lightly over here towards the cabin. Some of it would be like, it'd be like a big patch of smoke, right? So when all the counselors are, and then it would make a gameplay aesthetic to where when all the counselors are together, if there's more than one counselor together, that spreads the smoke even more, giving Jason a harder time when counselors are together. He knows that there's a lot of counselors in this vicinity, right? But he doesn't know how many, he doesn't know how close they are. Like the smoke would be over here, say if the person was hiding down under that cliff still. The smoke would be like all over here, so he wouldn't know like if I was hiding over here, if I was hiding behind the car, maybe I'm hiding like behind this tree. He wouldn't know that this dude is sitting in this bush right here underneath the cliff. Bam. Nice hiding spot. No hologram, no way to pick up the dude like pinpoint target. I'd be standing up there looking all over for him at the smoke that's spread out all in front and maybe along the sides near the cabin as well. So like that, I think that would be an awesome thing for players, giving the players an opportunity to hide out in the open. Do I have any thought on the sound pings? See, the sound pings are perfect. Don't ever change the sound pings. If I were to say to change something, I would change Jason appearing on the mini. Jason appears on the mini-map way too often, I think. I think Jason should only appear on the mini-map if somebody has shot a flare in his face or hit him with a flare and marked him, you know, the whole thing. But like I noticed that Jason appears on the mini-map when he's not even doing much anything at all except for walking and doing his thing. That's not good. That's good. He appears on the mini-map a lot, and it gives Jason's, like Jason should be able to do the same things the counselors do. If the counselors are gonna have, if the counselors are gonna be able to hide out in the open and all that good stuff, you know, Jason appearing on the mini-map, it just totally gives them away. And then the fear is like that whole fear factor of Jason coming around the corner of a cabin and scaring you, walking around the cabin when you're about to go around the corner, or opening a door and Jason's just right there, or the element of surprise is ruined. But I don't know how he appears. I don't know what the mechanics exactly are for Jason appearing on the mini-map for the counselor, but Jason appearing on the mini-map, for me, when I'm playing, to me, it ruins Jason's surprise. You know, it ruins an extra thing that could terrify players. Nothing But Zay says, Jason should only appear if he is seen by the counselor. I don't like that. I'm going to be honest right now, I don't like that. Because who's to say the person is actually seeing him? If they're going to make the maps a little bit darker and they want that to be a thing where Jason can surprise people in the trees, what if Jason's standing there in the trees right now and I don't see him as a player? And because I'm not really looking hard enough, or he's just standing so good, you know, so well in the trees or behind whatever fence in the lighting. I don't like that, because if you're looking at him, the player doesn't see him. If I'm looking at Jason's standing back there behind this tree or behind this bush and I don't see him right away, he shouldn't be appearing on the mini-map. I don't like that, because if he appears on the mini-map, then the player's gonna go, oh, I can't see him, but he's over there. You know, like if he's standing behind the car or I don't see him right away, you know, I'm going to keep walking towards him. But if he appears on the mini-map, I'm going to be like, oh, he's over there, time to go this way, and then the whole thing's ruined. You know, I think if they changed a lot of things to make it to where, you know, it's on the counselor and Jason's side, maybe in the environment as well, Jason could surprise a lot of players a lot more and create more fear in you know, in the actual player, not the avatar or the counselor in the game. But I'm talking about scaring the actual player, creating a sense of stress and fear. But as long as he's appearing on the mini-map like he does right now, which is very frequent, Jason appears on the mini-map very frequently. It's very easy to keep track of him. That's why Jason has to shift grab people, because it's almost impossible to surprise somebody as him. There's no way to surprise the counselors. You know, if he's near you, you're gonna see him on the mini-map. I don't know what the assets are to have him appear on the mini-map, but he appears very frequently. But yeah, I would like to see it to where I just want the players, you know, to have a real sense of fear for Jason, and not thinking of him as just a problem that's in the way of their objectives. I want him to actually fucking be scaring the shit out of people. It is hard for him to do that with the way the game is set up right now. To have Jason be more of this thing that comes out by surprise, not from a shift grab, and scares the absolute shit out of you. I'm still waiting on the moment where I open a door and Jason's just right there behind the door. That never happens because I can see him on the mini-map. There was one moment when I was playing with Smeggles, I remember this, where Jason was standing outside the window. I think it was Kermit. Kermit, you were playing Jason. Kermit was standing right outside the cabin. He wasn't appearing on the mini-map. It was actually kind of cool. The one time that Jason did not appear on the mini-map, and I knew he was outside the cabin because I heard him walk up to the door or next to the window or wherever it was. I heard his footsteps. So I was in that inside the cabin. I was like, Smeggles, go open the door. Go open the door. And she walked up to the door, and then she waited a second. It was the best thing. And then she looked out the window. She was like, no, because he's standing right out. She was about to open the door, though. It was amazing, because he wasn't on the mini-map. See, they need to take Jason off of the mini-map a little bit more than he is. And it was this moment, there's these moments that can be created where Jason actually scares the shit out of players, but it needs to be made to where he doesn't appear that often on the mini-map and not surprising you with a shift grab. Because that's not that frightening either. That's more aggravating than frightening. When Jason appears from out of nowhere and he just shift grabs you, that's not scary. It's aggravating. That just makes the player mad. Like, oh, he just fucking shift grabbed me again. Oh boy, I'm dead. You know? I want to see him actually fucking scaring people. I think it can happen with the right adjustments. But yeah, it's gotten to the point where players are already desensitized from Jason, right? So there should be, and that's why I'm kind of bringing this up now, is because, I see that. We're all laughing, now it's funny. The game has become like a funny thing, right? But it's still fun. It is fun, it's still stressful. Jason coming after you, it's still a stressful thing. I just want to see him become more frightening and less, kind of what it is now, where yes, it's a thing that's coming after you. It's stressful. Moments happen. Sometimes they're funny. Sometimes they're brutal. But I want to see more frightening, like sincerely. The moments prior to seeing Jason, the moment when you actually see him is like new experiences for encountering Jason. And that would be like a one thing that frightens me, I guess, in Dead by Daylight that you don't get here is those moments when you don't know if he's actually seen you or not, but he's close. Like, you don't really get that too much because he has that holographic sense ability. You really don't get that experience of him. If he's like, if you're in the woods, let me go outside again. If you're in the woods and you see him walking in your direction, chances are, in most players' minds, yeah, he's already seen me. There's no way I can just sit here and he's going to walk by, right? So if you're ducked down like right here behind these bushes and you see him kind of walking in your direction from over by the Crystal Lake Camp sign, you know that he saw you. There's no chance that there's no maybe behind it. There is, he saw me, now I gotta run. But in Dead by Daylight, what you get that you don't get necessarily in this game because there is no holographic sensibility is the killer's coming, you're not going to run right away because in Dead by Daylight that they may not be seeing you in your hiding spot. So the killer may walk in your direction, and then they cut a turn. And then the player goes, holy shit, I can't believe I thought he saw me. Like he was walking in my direction, and then all of a sudden he turned and went the other way. There's no way he did not see me. You get that a lot in Dead by Daylight. And it's because there is no sensibility. Right now I think of the sensibility almost as a cheat when you're out in the woods, because it's really easy to just catch up with a counselor and go ahead and kill him via shift grab. But if it was just like the smoke, like we talked about, just the sense, like a smoky aura, you can't see where the counselor's at necessarily, but you pick up their smoke sense, like whatever, you know, the little patch of red. I'll go ahead and flash that image up again so you guys can see it. Something like that right there, like on the left side, where you see the smoke kind of floating around in the air. It's their pheromonal fear sense. Now the counselor would be able to get down behind a tree in a bush. Jason's walking at them, and then he turns and goes in a different direction. Maybe because you have some kind of perk on that throws your sense off. So Jason sees the thick pack of... that would make for better perk abilities as well. Because now, Jason, you could put a perk on your counselor to make the sense more spread out. It makes the smoke not so condensed where you are at, but it spreads it out more. So now, Jason, if you have this perk activated, Jason's going to see a big-ass fucking smoke cloud, and he's going to see it, and maybe he might cut off in another direction to where he thinks you're at, and you're sitting there in the bushes watching him, and you're like, holy shit, he didn't see me. Like, that needs to happen a lot more, I think. I think that would make it way more frightening. And it would open opportunities for new perks to play with the smoke in different ways, you know? Right, exactly, null skills. That would also kill the shift grab problem that's also tormenting players. Because if Jason sees a smoke from far away, he's not going to know where to shift grab you necessarily, because he can't see your hologram. He can't pinpoint your hologram and then go ahead and fucking zip over to your ass and shift grab you. Null skills right there, hitting it on the spot. Now he won't. If he does see you as like an actual physical counselor, you know, you get up out of the bushes and you start running, he's gonna shift grab your ass. See, Kermit brings up another point, and there would be all kinds of gameplay elements that go into the sense smoke. But yeah, Kermit's talking about like when your composure is shot up, when your composure is completely shot, and Jason goes to sense you. Your fucking cloud of smoke is basically mostly your hologram then. Then Jason sees your hologram, maybe, you know? Instead of just a wide area of smoke, now it's like a small little smoke ball that looks almost like your counselor. Because your counselor's completely scared by that point. That's when you're fucked. That's when Jason's enraged, you know? Jason's completely enraged when he goes to sense your little fear smoke ball. It's pretty much you. It's pretty much the size of the car. Whereas like when your composure is really good and you're not scared, your smoke would like extend. Like say you're hiding behind the car, your smoke would like extend as far as way over here, right? Your smoke cloud is huge. Like it would go from here and then it would go all the way over back to the cabin over there. All the way back over here to the cabin. But like when you're fucking scared, when you're like highly scared, your little smoke ball is gonna get smaller and smaller and smaller to where maybe now when he's enraged, this shit is only this big. As big as the car for the most part. So now Jason can fucking just, okay, he's by the car, you know? He can just pretty much instantly pick up on where you're at. But then it gives the player a chance to hide not only in the cabins, but now also to hide out in the woods. That would also give the developers the ability to create bigger maps, because right now as a holographic image, they have to make sure the developers are now limited to making sure the counselors have enough stamina to get to cabin in between cabins. And that's why the gameplay mechanic is like it is. That's why the cabins on the maps right now are kind of close to each other. You know, it's easy to get from one section of the map to the other. They have to make sure that when you're running from one cabin to the other on each section of the map, that you have enough stamina to make it to the other section without your stamina being completely depleted. You know, they can't make the maps too big for this reason. But if they took away the holographic thing and made it smoke, then the developers can open up their range of creativity, and they don't have to worry about that boundary of making sure the player can sprint from this section of the camp to Stillwater from, you know, Blair's. Stillwater to Blair's, you know, you have a lot of, if your stamina's at full, you can pretty much hike the most of the way over there without busting out your stamina, you know. But if they took it and took away the holographic sense thing, they can now open up and create ways for players to hide out in the open. They're not going to be stuck and powerless out in the open. Now they have an opportunity to actually get in a bush, duck down, manually hide from Jason. He might not see them. Get behind a tree. Now they have the chance to get behind a tree and maybe watch Jason walk right by them, creating those tension-filled moments that could happen anywhere, like out in the woods. That's why nobody hides in the graveyard. That's why nobody is ever seen in the graveyard or like areas around outside, outward from the camp. Like the road, you know, the main road, the cemetery, Jason's shack, the little camp sites that they have set up. People hardly ever use those assets because Jason's sense is very pinpoint, and if he sees you like out in the cemetery, you're done, because it's really hard to get to a cabin, you know, when you're stuck out here. But if you're stuck out here, like say the cemetery where I'm at right now, and Jason senses you and he picks up your cloud of smoke, he's gonna come over here and he's gonna start searching. So that gives you time to build up your stamina. You know, you're caught out here, you hear Jason, you get down, you're behind this little statuette right here, fucking gravestone. He's searching for you. You have a moment now to build your stamina up and slowly go the other way, and slowly make your way to a cabin where you're gonna feel a little bit more safer than you are out in the open. And there's that opportunity to evade out in the open and to possibly hide. It's a big change. Like, that's a big change that we're asking and that I'm bringing up. I know it's like I'm a pain in the ass player, but that's the things I have going on in my head, you know. Like, I'm not trying to be an asshole or anything to the developers. I'm just speaking my mind on what I think would make this game a way better experience when it comes to Jason's sensibility. Because honestly, Jason's sensibility is, when I'm playing, that is 80% how I find a counselor. The sound pings 40 to 50% on how I pinpoint where I'm going, you know. But when I'm there, like the sensibility to me gets me where I'm going, right? I look at the pings and I know, okay, a counselor is on this side of the map. So I pull up my map ability and bam, I teleported, and now I'm here on this side of the map. The next thing a player is going to do most of the time is bam, they're going to hit their sensibility. And they're going to look around, and they look around for a hologram. Oh, there he is over there. Shift grab. That's how it is, and I don't like it. I don't like that. But if it was, okay, I see a sound ping, boom, I'm morphing to that side of the map. Okay, I'm here, I hit my sensibility, cloud of red smoke. I don't know where the fuck they're at. I'm not gonna shift. That limits me from shimming. Now the counselor knows I'm around, right? They hear the music, they stop, they find a tree or something, a bush to get behind. I see their cloud. I'm not gonna shift because I don't know where the fuck they're at, even though I'm sensing their smoke. But now I'm looking around as Jason. I see their cloud. Where the fuck are they? The counselor's hiding behind a tree. They could do the shit that, you know, people do it in Dead by Daylight a lot, but, you know, I would do this in real life too if I'm evading a killer. You're gonna get down behind this thing. Jason's walking over here. You're gonna get down and he walks right by it. You're gonna get down and you're gonna strafe to the side. And he keeps walking. You're gonna hope he doesn't turn around, and you're gonna fucking keep going the other way, and it would be way more frightening. Because right now, like, a lot of people use stamina perks, because that's the major thing you need to get from one cabin, because people rely on the cabins. People are 100%, 80 to 100% reliant on the cabins to get to safety. So everybody uses, you know, stamina perks and all those things that increase their running ability for silent characters. But if fear became like the way that we're talking about, you know, people are going to be now they have a reason to use fear perks more to make their cloud more whatever it's going to be doing in order to hide from Jason, evade him out in the woods. I like to have these virtual cabin talks a lot, but I only do it when they've come out with a significant amount of information. I know you guys ask me, when are we going to do a virtual cabin chat again? When are we going to have it, you know, when are we going to have a talk? But when there's no information, you know, and there's no ideals on my side, or a problem or a big issue or something that I think needs to be, you know, adjusted a little bit, I don't really have anything to talk about. So we would just be sitting in a cabin looking at this lamp all day with nothing to talk about. But yeah, I think, you know, that was a good little topic to bring up about Jason Sense. I think it would make the game way more immersive. Cool beans.